Yeah, everybody, welcome back to Coffee Time with Almeida. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. That's the first Coffee Time with Almeida of 2021. And that's a very special episode today because we're bringing on a friend here from San Diego who I actually just got the pleasure of having a little meetup with before this. I'm going to stop rocking, everybody. Sorry. Woof. And Frank Martucci. So Chris Patino is coming to us from San Diego, and Frank Martucci is coming to us from Bristol, Rhode Island. And today we're going to talk about the bike ride that we're doing next week. We're going to talk about what Chris is up to in San Diego. We're going to talk a little bit about cancer. We're going to talk about mental health and a bunch of other stuff. So welcome, guys. Welcome to Coffee Time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Thanks for making it happen. Thanks for joining us. I know it's hard for, even though we got the Zoom calls, it's kind of tough to get everybody lined up sometimes, especially when we're in different time zones. But this is awesome. This is awesome because there hasn't been too many West Coasters on Coffee Time. So, and this is so cool anyways. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, fortunately, it is coffee time over here right now because it's a little bit earlier than where you guys are. But yeah, about me. Wow, I live in San Diego. I've got 3 wonderful children, a beautiful wife. She's also the boss of our domain. But I couldn't do things without her right now, just based on what I'm going through in life. But I'm out here. I own a bar called Raised by Wolves. If you're in San Diego, come check us out. I have a small marketing agency called Simple Serve, where we work with brands big and small. But things in that arena are on fire right now, coming out of the pandemic, which is good. I also run something called Bartender's Weekend out here, which hasn't happened. It would have been our 7th Bartender's Weekend last year, and obviously we didn't do it this year. So we'll be doing number 7 and 22. And I have pancreatic cancer, which is we're coming up on it's almost been a year since my diagnosis, so could be worse, I suppose.
So what's your last year been like? So you got that diagnosis during coronavirus.
I got it. I got it on my birthday on July 9th last year. I was in the hospital, and that's when the biopsy came back. It was on my birthday, and they came in, and it's not like the movies. You don't go into an office and they don't sit you down, and it was really just like, oh, yep, yeah, you got cancer.
Oh man.
In fact, they didn't even, it's weird because they didn't even say it in a way, because they don't like to use the word cancer. So they didn't even say it in a way where when the doctors left the room, I didn't know exactly what just happened. You know what I mean? And there's probably a lot of emotion involved in too. I didn't know I had cancer. It was like, it kind of took a few minutes for that to settle in. They just refer to it, of course, as a tumor. They don't, and the type of tumor, which if you're not, had cancer or have a loved one that has had cancer, you wouldn't know what they said. They use a lot of big words, and then they leave, and you're on your own. And it was crazy too because nothing really happens fast either. You think, okay, I got cancer, we've got to act now, and it's like, well, a month later we started treatment.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's a long, strange process, and obviously you talk about mental health, and it messes with you for sure. Fortunately, I have a lot of support and love and family, and that's kind of helped carry me through,
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the solid foundation you built, right?
Something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I think at first you're grasping at straws. You're just looking for anyone, any information, any support, anybody who wants to talk to you, I was given, this is the thing. I'm not speaking like I'm out of the woods on any means. I'm still knee deep in this fight. I was given 6 months to live, on July 9th. And the fact that we're now, I think, what is it now? 9 months in, I'm counting each day as a blessing, and it changed your outlook and your perspective on life and things, and how you approach situations and how you react to certain things. And I'm fortunate that the treatment is, knock on wood, according to my doctor, going well as it could be. So you wake up every day. The reality is you wake up and you're like, well, I don't know, do I have days, do I have months, do I have years, and the same could be said for all of us. I mean, we could get hit by a bus tomorrow collectively. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We're in different time zones, so it's highly unlikely. But it's different because now there's there's this stigma, there's this thing in your head that's like, oh, that's there, you know what I mean, that you have to worry about. And I don't know. Some days I am fine, and I try, and I'm trying to be strong for my family, of course. And I wake up some days and I try and act like nothing's wrong. But between us chickens here, every day it's there. Life is not the same. Like, my new normal is not the same as it used to be, and that comes through in what I'm able to do physically, what I can eat, the mental aspect, all these things, and just changes dramatically. Um, and I'm on a medicine right now that makes my hands and my feet numb, right? And not in a good way. It's more painful than painless, and so those are things that I have to adjust to.
Sounds hard. Sounds really hard.
Yeah, yeah, it sucks. There's no upside of having cancer, except for you hear from some friends that you maybe hadn't heard from in a while. That's about the only thing.
So can you tell me a little about? I think you just launched an old fashioned.
Oh yeah, so a good friend of mine, Aaron Polsky, who's just the quintessential barman that's worked a lot of he's been all over New York, worked in bars, craft cocktail bars in New York and LA as well, where he lives now in Hollywood. He is Mr. Hollywood. He's definitely that. He is that rock star persona. But he started a company called Livewire, and it's livewiredrinks.com. You can go on there. My drink's on there. But the whole premise of this company is he set up his company as if it was a record label, right? And then he makes ready to drink cocktails, and he partners with bartenders across the U.S. to make these drinks as if it was their album offering, right? So um, when he approached me, he's like, "Hey, I want you to do a drink. You're going to be our first stirred cocktail. Right now, they have 3 or 4 canned cocktails, and I'm the first stirred, like, bottled cocktail." He's like, and so here's kind of what I have to work with. So he gave me options for like base spirits and things like that. And then he's like, and then I want you to pick an artist. I want you to design the label, work on your backstory. And then he puts it out. So it's like my album, right? This is my offering. And so we did something called the Alley Cat Old Fashioned, where he has some rye whiskey available to him. And then we came across this really beautiful spirit. It's an over oaked apple brandy being made up in Ventura, the Ventura Spirits Company. Um, and that really, like, because it's over oaked, playing with a young rye, like, it really worked well together. And then I went and tested through just tons of different bitters. We ended up with bitter cubes, cherry bark vanilla bitters, and that kind of like completed thing. So it's got like a spiciness from the rye. It's got like hints of like a baked apple from this over oak brandy, and then the bitters tie it all together. And it just launched last week, so it's now available for purchase. Right now on the website, they'll ship anywhere in the U.S., and then it's hitting stores this week. Like it'll be at Raised by Wolves. I think it actually came in last night. But it's a super cool project. You guys should check it out. And he's got, man, I saw the roster of people that are following it. It's some amazing bartenders. So it's really cool to see what he's doing there.
Cool, that's awesome. It's interesting. We're getting ready to open a cocktail bar, and we did so much pivoting over the last year for COVID. I almost forgot how to bartend. I feel like, but
I forgot how to bartend years ago. For me, it's been, God, maybe 15, 16 years, because I went the other route. I got into brand education, worked for Pernod Ricard for 10 years as the director of brand advocacy. And then coming out of that, moving, basically leaving New York, it got too expensive. The 3 kids, well, at the time we had 2, but number 3 on the way kind of thing. And living in a 2-bedroom apartment on the Upper East Side it just wasn't cutting it. Also, the landscape at the company I worked at had changed pretty dramatically as well. And I thought 10 years was a good time to duck out and see if I could bet on myself for a while. And, that's what I did. Essentially, I left and I started Simple Serve with a gentleman named Eric Castro out here in California, in San Diego. And that was our whole thing. Was we really threw it against the wall. I mean, it was like, we're consult on bars. We're going to do drinks for brands. We're going to help with strategy. We're going to do events. We're going to do it all. It's definitely streamlined since then, playing to the strengths. But it was a chance meeting at a company Christmas party for a company that I didn't really belong to. Just had a friend that was throwing the party, and I came along, and I met a gentleman named Arsalan Tafazoli who is one of the best restaurateurs, visionaries in our industry, especially in San Diego. He's got now it's 13 or 14 places out here, and the idea of Raised by Wolves was thrown about, and I heard the concept, and I didn't need to be sold anymore. I was in. It was a bit of a risk, we knew, because we opened a cocktail bar in a shopping mall, like a legitimate shopping mall, where we're across from a La Colombe coffee and an Apple store, right around the corner from Nordstrom,
What?
and you walk in, and we built out this beautiful bottle shop that's my baby. That's kind of my domain, where I curate the spirits that we have in our shop. And then you sit down at a fireplace that's in the middle of the shop, and it spins you into our bar, kind of like a Scooby-Doo style. And next thing you know, we've taken you out of the mall, and we've transported you to our own experience. You're in our world now, and it's a beautiful. We won Imbibe Magazine Best Bar in 2019, after being open for a year, so that was huge. And that's something that I don't get to be as involved right now because of what I'm going through on my personal side with cancer. But I still, I'm checking in there. I actually just went there for the first time in a year a couple of weeks ago, which was very surreal. But it's running well. We've got a good team. And we're doing good things. So anyway, that being said, I was very fortunate that opportunity came up, and that they were looking to get someone like me involved, and I jumped at the chance. So if
That's
you're in
awesome.
San Diego, go to Raised by Wolves. We have a couple of new spots that just opened up. One called Young Blood, which is definitely worth checking out if you're out here. It's like a prefix. You pay a ticket price, you get 3 cocktails at this like really really ornate, beautiful space downtown. Um, I think he's got a members only club opening up soon as well that he's working on. So it's kind of like a workspace but cocktail centric. So should be cool.
Frank, you been there yet?
I have a story about meeting Chris at Raised by Wolves, but
can we hear it, or is it internet worthy? Is it internet?
No. It just it speaks it speaks on behalf.
My wife, by the way.
Hi.
You might as well come say hi. You're on.
Please.
We're doing a podcast.
Hi.
Zoom.
Hi.
That's Heather.
Hi. So nice to meet you.
Yeah.
She's the boss.
Thanks for letting Chris come on today.
Yeah.
I was out in San Diego for the Vibe conference, and I wanted to stop by to see Chris's restaurant bar because I heard so much about it. And so anyway, I had a car, and I went out there. It was probably like 9:30 at night, and it was my birthday too. So I was out there for the conference, and anyway, I'm walking through this mall, and all of a sudden I get to the spot where Chris's place is, and Chris is walking out at the same time. It's almost like fate. And Chris goes, "What are you doing here, Frank?" I'm here for the Vibe conference, and of course I want to see your place. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm about to go home to see the family." I said, "Great, have a good night." And his remark is, "No way, man. He goes, come in, I want to show you my spot." And he stayed about an hour and a half, 2 hours, showed me the spot. We had a couple of cocktails. Didn't even know it was my birthday. And afterwards, the next day, he goes, "Man, why didn't you tell me it was your birthday?" I said, "I just wanted to catch up with you." And the hospitality that Chris shows over and over again, and that moment alone just speaks volume of what I think about, and not me, but our bar community and industry thinks about Chris. And
yeah, I'm better on that side of the bar, anyways, Frank. Yeah, nowadays, look,
yeah,
it's a young man's game in a lot of ways. What's happening now, and like the high volume nature of what craft cocktails have become. I look at like the staff that we have, and like I don't think I could keep up. I would be in the way, So you might catch me there on a Monday night popping in and making drinks for certain people here and there, but I let them do their thing. Like my whole plan was to end up working at like an Elks Lodge or a VA bar, where you just have to make a few old fashions and some martinis, and more about the relationship and telling jokes with the regulars. That's what I like. So now as an owner, it's allowed me to do what I think I excel at, which is hospitality, right? It's making people feel comfortable and feel important and have a good experience at the place, whether I'm making the drinks for them or not. And that's what it's come to.
Yeah, and I also think it plays on that whole platform of health and wellness in our industry, right? And how we can continue to have that bartender who wants to stay in the industry long enough, and retire that way, be healthy and mentally and physically healthy to be behind the bar, right? And that's a huge platform for us nowadays.
I think like people just don't think of it that way, like this industry is so vast. You can really make it what you want. You know what I mean? Like if you're feeling like you can't do this anymore, which I hear a lot of people coming out of COVID, and I get it, man. I see what's happening there. I see it's like as a society, a lot of us have forgotten how to act around other people, and we become such soulists by nature that it's going to take some time to get that back but there are opportunities. Like if you're not happy at your current environment or the current role that you have, like there's lots of opportunity out there. Find the one that does suit you, or that next step, that evolution. If you do end up at an Elks Lodge with working with me, down the road, then that's what it's all about. It's one of my uncles. He's a great uncle, actually. He's one of my grandfather's brothers that he was bartending into his late 70s, and he loved it. But he was stylistically, you change your environment. You find the place that works for you, and I think making high volume craft cocktails on a Friday or Saturday night is maybe not the ideal for someone who's a veteran in the industry, 15, 20 years. Find your spot, find your sweet spot. Play to your strengths.
I'm about to do that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm about to go to working, so I got to pick up my paper here. About Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. I mean, we're going to be probably closed a relatively decent time considering, like, compared to the city. But I'm like, it's going to be a challenge. I feel like, and I recently completely stopped drinking. Just for health reasons, and it's definitely a different take on being the bartender who's not drinking.
Yeah, I feel you there. I stopped drinking when I got diagnosed, but it's gonna be fine. Actually, you'll probably feel better, and that's okay. I think what you're doing is admirable. You have to try. I also like what you said too. Is like hour wise. I mean, do you have to be a bar that's open to 2 a.m.? No, you absolutely don't. You know what I mean? It depends on what you're trying to do. I think there's just we have this model and everyone tries to fit into that same model. It's like, all right, let's squeeze every penny out of this place because we can be open till 2, but no one actually sits down and I don't think people do this enough where they sit down and they look at the actual costs of staying open later, and if you're not in a city like that's populous, like in New York or, San Francisco or whatever like that. I mean, and you're trying to put out a product that's above, high caliber. I don't think it's necessary. Let's say you close at midnight. Would people still come? Would you still get the same experience? Probably a better experience, and then maybe you look at your costs of keeping the place open for 2 hours. Are you getting enough volume in those last 2 hours? It depends. Or maybe you just do it certain nights of the week. But I think there's, now that we've gone through all this, people are starting to look at their business models differently. And it's something that wouldn't have happened before because it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But now, even at Raised by Wolves, we were trying to max the place out, and it was doing fine. Well, I think we discovered was though that people were coming, and on a Friday, Saturday night, it just wasn't the same experience. It was too crowded. We were letting people, it's like standing room, and you're waiting at a craft cocktail bar, waiting 3 deep at a bar. This is not the experience that you're looking for, I don't think. So people would come just to say they came, and that was cool. And we got a lot of publicity and social media sharing out of it and stuff like that. But I don't think we were getting the return, or not enough. We became that place where people had friends from out of town coming in, and they wanted to show them Raised by Wolves, right? But we weren't getting that regular crowd. And we were trying to think, well, is it because we're in a mall? Or is it because what are the reasons here? And I truly think it's because we're trying to maximize profit at sacrificing service. And we're a company and a bar that's built on service. So now, coming out of COVID, what we've learned is we're doing the same business with less people, and we're going to keep it that way now, right? Because you find that people are comfortable in this environment, and now they want to stay a little bit longer. They'll have that extra drink versus let's just have one and get out of here so we can say we were here because it's way too crowded. And so I think that's a key learning, that we were able to identify. And I'm
Yeah.
stoked because that's kind of what I always wanted for the place anyways. But again, we didn't know if we could make the revenue out of that, you know.
I love it. I love it.
It's hard to change, man. But if you're opening a bar, that's the advice that I'll give you is like your idea and your vision are going to change several times in the first 2 years, right? It takes that long. I think it takes 2 years for a bar to find its fitting. And so be okay to change and be okay to adapt. And don't like push too hard against it if it's not your vision. Because what you realize is your vision might not be what fits in that area, in that community, or what you thought, or your customers. And your customers are going to help you dictate what the vision is and becomes. And you'll be much better if you listen to them.
I bet. Yeah, we're fortunate. We have a lot of really awesome regulars, and I know they're going to help us make the place great. So,
good.
Hey, Frank, want to talk about the bike ride a little bit?
Sure. We're going to talk about no, just kidding. No, it's our fourth annual hospitality bike ride. Really excited to be bringing it back this year. Started 4 years ago with a good friend of ours, Tony Abagaman's Helen Day Relief Fund in Rhode Island, and had about 60 bike riders the first year. Tony came out to support the ride. We raised some really good money. Along, Campari has sponsored us, and I can't say enough about Campari itself and how much they were able to help support a little state of Rhode Island in a bike ride. So I think he gave us the opportunity. I know, Chris, you're on the first one too, to kind of get a feel of what it's about and promote health and wellness of our industry. So it's big, and it's such a great community event where we're able just to get outside of the bar, and socialize and just kind of network as well. So able to get some really great riders from Boston and Connecticut to come enjoy the ride the last couple of years too, right, which has been helpful. So the first 2 years we did it for the Helen Day Relief Fund. Last year, really wanted to bring it back, especially COVID and the level of mental health was really challenging for people to stay in the four walls. So was able to bring it back to Bristol, Rhode Island, and instead of just doing it for one cause, we just decided, Chris, you're a major part of that as well, is let's just do it for different causes, whatever we feel, the bartender wants to raise money for. They can raise money for themselves or for a charitable event. And, fortunately, we raised money for 12 different charities around the country. And then this year, still in that COVID landscape and wanting to do it and, glad to see how we're coming out of it. For some reason, I always wanted to try to do something for Chris and, I admire his openness on the social media platform of why he struggles or how he struggles with his diagnosis. And I kind of wanted to do something. So pedaling for Patino just kind of rolled off the tongue. And so before we talked to Chris about doing the fundraiser for him, I kind of reached out to Dimitri in Connecticut, Jonathan Pogash in the Cape, yourself, Chris, and a couple other, industry people, Joaquim and the Meza brothers from Dolores, who have been instrumental in the bike ride. I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a ride called Pedaling for Patino for Chris. Would you want to do it? And everyone, said without a doubt, let's do it. I remember Joaquim saying, let's ride, in quotation marks. So kind of booked the day. I kind of followed up with Chris on it. And Chris says, he was humbled to do it. And, what do we need from him? So that's how it kind of started on that side of it. Chris, just to go back, I met Chris 11 years ago when the USBG chapter was just forming, and we decided somehow crazy enough to do our first ever United States bartending regional meeting. So Pernod Ricard and Chris was generous enough to supply us with a double-decker bus that we toured around Newport and Providence, which was legendary, and they really had to Chris. And also Per from Absolute, who came in, and we did a cool little thing with Absolute. But ever since that with Chris, I've always been able to have really good experiences with him. Or anytime I ever needed I don't want to say a favor, but either a video shoot or some educational platform piece, he was always there for us. So with that said, I think I met so many people because of you, Chris, that I did a long video. It probably took 20 minutes because I probably teared up a couple times. But because of the experience with you, Chris, and all I have to say is, you showed many people through your charitable efforts and networking and education. You made a lot of us friends. So I put a challenge out there, and it was great to see people just say, "Hey, I want to ride on your behalf, Chris," or pancreatic cancer, or just health and wellness. And so this year it's crazy. We have people in New York City, Stacy, and a couple other people in New York that are going to ride on Monday. Rob Husted, a great friend from Florida, is going to ride in Palm Beach with some people. Julio Cabrera said, heck yeah, let's ride in Miami. So I know he wants to do it too. Just as of a couple of days ago, Jeremiah, who you met in Vibe right before the whole pandemic happened, and conversation kind of stirred him to want to do a bike ride in Indianapolis.
Yeah, he and Sean Fittner have been really good to me and just check in on me a lot. And I've been speaking to them a lot. And I'm gonna try and do like a mile around Coronado. I don't know how far I can go, but
that'd be great.
I'm gonna get
so
I
think something from a little state of Rhode Island of us doing a bike ride and saying that we can do it in Rhode Island, and just having other people wanting to jump on a bike and ride it speaks volume of yourself, Chris, and how much we love you, and how much we care about you. So, and this is not this. I think the whole industry in general. I think we want to live a healthier lifestyle. Chris, kudos to you for not drinking and stuff like that, and we're seeing a lot of that piece happening as well for both of you. But I think how we can have that longevity of bartending in our community is really important nowadays. And
by the way, Campari's a sponsor. Who's the other sponsor, Frank?
I haven't gotten to that piece. So anyway, when talking with Chris, I asked, can we use another brand, and he is, I'd love to use Terramana, and so I reached out to the national people at Terramana, and resoundingly, Terramana said, yes, let's do it. And Campari had no problem with it as well. It's a charitable event, so we'll be doing the Jabroni cocktail at the post party at Bywater with Hunky Dory as a co-piece of collaboration restaurant. But Terramana has been great with that piece, and Mike Lazaro has been key on supporting the race. So he'll be biking with us. Gary Drissler and Dominic Italiano from Campari in the USA. How about Italiano for a last name for a Campari rep, right?
I mean, it's like destiny.
He's but they've been every year they've been supportive of the ride. So we can't really speak enough about Terramana and also Campari on the support and supporting the post party, supporting the rentals of the bike, advertise anything that we've asked for from either people. They've said yes. On the other side of it, Chris, too, I just besides that, there's little suppliers in Rhode Island who want to do it. Bully Boys Distillery out of Mass are bringing in some riders to help do the ride this year. And, so it just really transcended about not so much a brand or anything about that. It's about our industry and being healthy and supporting a great cause and great people.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to be healthy, and it's interesting because you talk about the cost of being open late, but like it's the cost of being open late on your bartenders and your staff too, and you're right about, I think, dialing it back and making yourself a little more rested and feeling better is better for your guests too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It's like, in the middle of the pandemic, basically in December, I was just like, I'm way overweight. I'm on all kinds of medication. I got to do something. And I was like, I don't think I can ever lose the weight. And then I joined Noom, honestly. And, from there went into like, okay, like let's fix my mental health. So I started to see a therapist and, went from there, and, things are a hell of a lot better, for everybody, for myself and people around me. And, I was definitely a high strung person and trying to dial that back, but I feel I'm like being behind the bar. I mean, hopefully I'm inspiring some people a little bit to make help, just take some more time for themselves, and, when you take more time for yourself, I think it's better for everybody around you,
Yeah. I know what's it out in San Francisco, the PIN Collaborative, that shows that you don't drink is a nice sign of the industry too. I just gave a person that works for us and just celebrated 1 year, and I wound up giving her a pin, and she was just like blown away with that piece. Like, there's so many different angles. I know, Chris, you do you Simply Surfs helps do the motivation or meditation Mondays.
Yeah, we're working with Beam
And 3 of
Centauri right
them.
now. We have a meditation program that we started. It's every last Monday of the month. It's pre-shift meditation. We partnered with this group called Mindful out of New York, which are just like really, really well-known experts in the field. I wish more people would join, so please join. It's Zoom, so there's unlimited room. But if you really care about mental health and you're looking to find mindfulness, and join us, it's a fun 30 minutes of just finding yourself and learning how to breathe and focus on your own energies. We also did this same with Beam Centauri. We did a bartender playlist program, which is another thing that came out of the pandemic. Was we were sitting around and we're like, well, what do people miss the most? And it's like, well, you missed that bar experience. It's like, okay, well, how can we kind of bring that home, because everyone's doing at home cocktails and things like that. So we partnered with a bunch of bartenders to create a drink and then create a playlist, that tie the two together, and then put that all on Spotify, so that if you're at home, you could actually like make this bartender's drink and listen to their playlist and get that, kind of 360 experience at home. And that's actually been going really well. We've got that going through September, and hopefully it gets renewed, because I think there's been a lot of eyes on it, but it's fun too. You get to see these really like elaborate playlists. I mean, we're talking, eclectic is the word, I guess. Where it's like you think you know somebody, and then you tell them they have to put together an hour's worth of music, and it can't be more than that. And it's just trying to, you have so many things going through your head, like, all right, what do I want to play, but what are people going to think when I play that, or like, and so just like finding that perfect, it ends up being like 12 songs, and 12 songs that kind of define you. It's tough to do, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. Check us out. That's on Instagram. It's at Bartender Playlists on Instagram. And
yeah, I mean, just a plug for the Meditation Mondays. I've attended 3 of them. So great. I mean, definitely get you in a zone, and I appreciate the efforts on that side of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to the bike ride, if I can, real fast. Chris, if we can just post the signups. We are in the bartending community, so people are last minute, but signups are going well, so that's good. If somebody doesn't have a bike, due to our sponsors as well, we were able to get good rental bikes this year for those who want to use them to get on the bike path as well. It's 25 miles on that side. So please, when you sign up, if you do need a bike, just let us know on that side of it. For that piece on that side of it. I want to say one thing. Happy birthday to Ben Terry, a good friend of ours who's helped a lot with this bike ride. So it's his birthday today. So a big shout out to that. And also, I just want to say, just found out that Mia Mestrioni, who planned or is still planning to do the bike ride in Rhode Island, father passed away 2 weeks ago. So we sent us to her. I just been in contact with her too.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, but great girl, and hopefully she'll join it. And just got breaking news: Jonathan Pogosh, who was on the fence on doing the ride, is coming out of retirement, and he'll be on the bike.
Ooh, yeah! It's because Joe.
So it's a breaking news
Joe
alert.
P called him out. That's why. Joe called him out on your thread. I'll tell you one thing that I find. I don't know if it's funny or like, I don't think anyone in San Diego is doing it. You know what I mean? This is where I live. It's like,
right.
I haven't maybe pushed it enough because I didn't. I'm sitting here going like, well, can I do it? And I'm like, there's no way I can do 25 miles. Like I just can't. Like my health right now and stuff. But I told Heather, I'm like, we're gonna get on the bikes on Monday. I don't care what we do. We'll ride. I don't care if it's a mile. And so I'm gonna try and get a few people to join us on doing that.
We got to watch Pogosh. He might do that thing like with the marathon where he jumps in a cab and makes it to the finish line. So.
I'm not fine. Hey Frank, I would be fine with people at home on Peloton, hopping on their Peloton bikes and joining us.
That's pretty
right.
A good friend of ours, Rob Hurst from Pittsburgh. He's going to do the same thing you just mentioned. He wants to do the ride, but I think he's going to do it standing alone in his bike or something. But I tell you, there's people that want to do it. It's a great first start for a first year for this kind of a different piece. hopefully we'll continue to do it. I think it's got some traction. Yeah, and you know, we couldn't have done it without Campari or Terramana. Chris, both of you know, doing an event is not cheap, and there's a lot of hidden costs. And
and it just so happens the Jabroni brings those magical worlds together. You know.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, so we're featuring the Jabroni in a couple of our Italian concepts, and it's delicious, and I think it's gonna be my summer drink.
Yes,
like loving it. It's the back notes of the banana comes through with the
Chris, just so you know, a Jabroni is basically it's a tequila Negroni with Terramana, Campari, sweet vermouth, and a little bit of banana liqueur. And the banana liqueur really helps to give it like some tropical notes, but also it binds the flavors together really, really well. Yeah, because it kind of works with that bitterness. Then it also ties into there's some tropical notes in Terramana as well, just because it's Highlands agave, right? And so it just I don't know. I've been in this. It's a bad position to be, by the way. Where lately I've been coming up with drink names and then trying to make the drink work. You know what I mean? Versus like,
I love that.
Good. Well, I think it's harder that way. You know, I think it's harder is you come up with a good drink and then you can base the name around the drink versus all right, I got to, you know, and like one of the first challenges I got because I'm a partner in Terramana with The Rock. They call me Arkansas. You know, they don't. But you know. We were coming up with drink strategy, and obviously we wanted it to reflect Mexico because, of course, that's where tequila's from, and that's where our home is. But we also wanted to tie into his lifestyle and his roots of being Polynesian, and so that's why if you look at a lot of our drinks, there's like a tropical element of them. So we like, for example, I knew right away that like I'm coming up with a margarita, and our lead drink is going to be this margarita, and we're going to call it the People's Margarita because he's the people's champ, right? And he drops the people's elbow and all that stuff. And like, we're the tequila of the people, all this stuff. So I'm like, it has to be the people's margarita. But then as like work backwards, it's like, what does that mean? You know, and we went through so many iterations of it just to try and find something that we liked. And finally we came back to probably the simplest idea, which was just to incorporate some pineapple juice and a little bit of Hawaiian sea salt. And that would kind of make the drink. And so it's a pineapple margarita with Hawaiian sea salt, but it's delicious. And it's something that needs to be revisited. So drink those too.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. Which banana liqueur are you using?
We did it with Giffard, but if you use Tempest Fusion as well, also good. They're both really good.
Yeah, I have both those.
Yeah, we use Giffard in our cocktail program. So
it's really interesting to see to compare all the banana liqueurs across the board and then put them in drinks. Though I mean, that's for if you want to get nerdy about it, but. Yeah. You know, it's kind of fun to mess around with.
Well, I'll be completely honest. We did it with Tempest first, but then you know you're looking at costs and things like that. Then we went to Giffard because it's a little bit less expensive and the quality was still there. So
sure,
it ended up being all right. But it can be made lots of different ways. I envision somebody now because pandan is such a popular ingredient. Someone's going to throw that in there next. You know.
Sure.
I would love to start a drink and like come up with like the bones of a recipe and then like send it off, you know, almost like Travelhood of the Sister Pants or whatever that movie is. Yeah, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. No, but just like a recipe that like would evolve across the U.S. because in every city and every state we have different tastes and profiles and flavors that we like to work with, and there's trends that are set. And so to take that one drink and see it 50 different ways would be so cool. Put your state's. I think we just came up with
like telephone handed over.
Just come up with your state's representation of this drink. What would you do differently? What you can change, you know, one thing or whatever, or it has to maintain the same roots, same bones, but you can add on, you can change out. I don't know, but I think there's something there. It'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Write a book.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I want to thank you so much for coming to Coffee Time today. Hopefully, we're going to push this around the internet, get some people to check it out. You know, it'll be living on the internet for indefinitely. But and we're really looking forward to the ride on Monday. If you guys get a chance to donate to the ride, that'd be cool. I really want to thank Michael Doobie for producing the show today. Mike actually was the inspiration behind Coffee Time, and when Frank asked if we can do a coffee time. And I was like, hell yeah, but I can't produce it because I'm going to have a heart attack. I called Mike Doobie up and he's like, yeah, come on over. So thanks, Mike.
If I could just say, also PanCam is another place that you can donate to as well. And they're super excited. It seems through social media platforms to be tied up with the event. So
yeah, actually that's something I forgot to mention, and maybe we'll close it out with this, is that and Frank's modeling one of my shirts. That's a bar.
Bent Not Broken.
Bent but Not Broken.
Nice.
Meg Morehouse is a fantastic designer. She did that for us. She's got a company called Love and Victory, but we have a website. It's thistshirtfightscancer.com. And if you go onto thistshirtfightscancer.com, you'll see several different iterations of shirts that are done by bartenders in the industry that are also artists. They're not all cancer related. Our flagship shirt does indeed say "This T-shirt fights cancer." Why wouldn't it? But we're kind of going in the direction now where the design itself doesn't have to be or reflect cancer, but all the money and all the proceeds that come in, I basically split them with PanCan. So you buy a shirt and half the money goes to the Pancreatic Action Network, which I'm vested in, obviously now connected for life. But it's been a fun undertaking. The last shirt that we did was actually my brother-in-law. It's called The Party Animal. It's a little cat wearing a birthday hat. It's actually his cat that he snapped the photo, but I like the photo so much I made it into a T-shirt. Jill DeGroff did one for us. It's on the website. You'll see it. So there'll be another one coming out very soon. But this T-shirtfightscancer.com. All the shirts go to a good cause. There's actually a Peddling for Patino shirt up on the website right now that Tina Ross did out here in LA. So check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Thank you so much. Frank,
Chris,
I'll see you on Monday.
Chris, thank you for hosting it, and Chris, stay safe. See you
Thanks,
around.
everyone.
All right.
Stay safe out there on the road.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. Later, fellas.